So, what on earth is going on between the United States and Iran? Are they secretly trying to end a brutal war, or are they just getting ready for the next round? Right now, the signals are so mixed, it's creating this fog of war that's got everyone, from governments to global markets, completely confused. Let's try and cut through that fog and figure out what's really happening. I mean, just look at this. On one side, you've got the US president telling everyone that, yep, talks are happening and they're going well. He claims Iran wants a deal so badly. But then you look at what Iran's military is saying in public, and they're basically laughing it off. They're sarcastically asking if the US is just negotiating with itself. So which is it? Who's telling the truth here? Because while all this talk is happening, the reality on the ground is anything but peaceful. This isn't some theoretical debate or a war of words. It's a real, active, hot war that's pulling in countries across the entire region. And, frankly, it's affecting all of us. And the scale of this thing is just staggering. Since it kicked off on February 28th, we've seen Iran's supreme leader killed in the opening salvos. We're seeing missile and drone attacks on Israel almost daily. Iran's navy has been practically wiped off the map with more than 50 ships destroyed. And the conflict is spilling everywhere. Drones are hitting Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, even setting an airport fuel depot on fire. All of this while the US is pouring thousands of more troops into the area. So, yeah, this is a major violent conflict. Which brings us right back to that huge contradiction. If the fighting is this bad, what in the world could they possibly be talking about in secret? This is where we get to the mysterious 15-point plan. So here's the deal. According to a bunch of different reports, the US has put together a really detailed 15-point ceasefire plan and sent it over to Tehran. But, and this is the key part, they're not talking directly. They're using Pakistan as a go-between. It's a clever setup, right? It lets both sides explore a way out of this mess while still being able to publicly deny they're even talking. And when you look at what's supposedly on the table, you see how huge the stakes are. The US wants Iran to give up, well, pretty much everything. They'd have to dismantle their main nuclear sites, cut off funding to groups like Hezbollah, allow international inspectors everywhere, and accept limits on their missile program. And what does Iran get in return? All sanctions lifted. And get this, American help building a civilian nuclear energy program. It's a massive, almost unbelievable trade-off. Okay, so a plan exists on paper, but does it have any chance in the real world? To figure that out, you have to dig into what each side actually wants to get out of this war. And, spoiler alert, their goals could not be more different. For the US, it's mainly about a military outcome. Washington's stated goal is to just break Iran's ability to be a threat, take out the nuclear program, the missiles, the drones, the Navy. The idea isn't necessarily to topple the government, it's more about declawing them so they can't cause trouble for US interests for a long, long time. Now, Israel's objective? That's a whole different ballgame. They're not just aiming to weaken the regime in Tehran, they want it gone, period. For decades, Israel has viewed Iran as a threat to its very existence. So for them, this war is a golden opportunity to get rid of that threat for good. And then there's Iran's strategy, which is the complete opposite of a quick deal. They seem to be settling in for a long, slow, painful war of attrition. The thinking is that their country is more willing to take casualties and absorb economic pain than the US and its allies are. They're betting that eventually everyone else will just get tired of the cost and will be forced to make a deal on Iran's terms. And all of these clashing goals are having huge ripple effects way beyond the Middle East. You might be wondering why this matters to you. Well, chances are you're already feeling it in your wallet. The most obvious impact has been on the energy market. Oil prices just shot up, almost hitting $120 a barrel. And all that panic is mostly because of one tiny but incredibly important spot on the map. And that spot is the Strait of Hormuz. You can think of it as the jugular vein for the world's energy supply. About 20%, 1/5, of all the oil and gas on the planet has to pass through that narrow little channel. So when Iran starts disrupting shipping there, the global markets freak out, terrified of a full-blown energy crisis. But the fallout is much bigger than just oil. For everyday people, it means you're paying more at the gas pump and even at the grocery store. And geopolitically, it's causing a massive shuffle. The US had to ease up on Russian oil sanctions just to calm the markets, which, by the way, helps fund Moscow. And at the same time, America is pulling ships and planes from the Pacific to deal with this, which is basically a huge strategic gift to Beijing. Of course, beyond all the strategy and economics, there's the most important cost of all, the human one. And the numbers are just devastating. We're seeing reports of over 1,500 people killed in Iran and another 1,000 in Lebanon from strikes targeting Hezbollah. These aren't just statistics in a geopolitical chess game, it's a real human tragedy, and the numbers are climbing every day. So let's bring it all together. With all this violence, these completely different goals, and the global chaos it's causing, is there any realistic way to end this? Is this 15-point peace plan even remotely possible? Or is it just a fantasy? Well, the hurdles are absolutely monumental. First, there's just zero trust. The US actually started this war while high-level talks were happening, and it's not the first time Iran has seen that playbook. Second, who in Iran even has the authority to make a deal right now? With the supreme leader gone, the power structure is a mess. And finally, like we've seen, the main players aren't even fighting the same war. They all have completely different ideas of what winning even looks like. So that leaves us with the big, critical question. Are we seeing the very first faint signs of a diplomatic way out, maybe born from pure exhaustion? Or is all this talk of a ceasefire just a tactical pause, a little break for everyone to rearm and get ready for the next, possibly even more destructive phase of a much bigger war? The answer to that is going to define the future of the Middle East.